Hey guys, it's Wayne Johnson with Wednesdays with Wayne. 9th episode. I'm not going to say we're getting to be good at this or professionals because I get in trouble. That's what I always. Hey guys, it's Wayne Johnson with Wednesdays with Wayne. 9th episode. I'm not going to say we're getting to be good at this or professionals because I get in trouble. That's what I always. We're getting to be good at this or professionals because I get in trouble. That's what I always say. But 9th episode, we're still having fun.
We're still here.
Getting.
We don't have anywhere else to be.
Yeah, we're locked in the house or locked on. Can't go far anyway.
My concern when we started this, be able to fit it in with the travel schedule to get you time to record these episodes. And I thought, how are we going to make this work? Joke's on me. Here we are. Maybe
you jinxed us with this.
Oh, I jinxed everything when I made a travel schedule in January.
Did you make the coronavirus too?
No. They said it was somebody that ate a bat or something. Didn't you think that's
First of all, they must have been really hungry.
I don't want to talk about the coronavirus.
Especially because evidently they didn't cook it.
Yeah.
Because if you cooked it, it probably wouldn't make you sick, right?
I don't know if that's true, but okay.
Well, whatever.
Sure, sounds good. I'm not eating a bat anyway.
Well, guys, I can't wait till tonight, 7 o'clock. Well, guys, I can't wait till tonight, 7 o'clock Central Time. You need to tune in. Fox Sports 1. You know, they've been doing the NASCAR races on, and we're finally getting sprint cars and late models from Charlotte on Fox Sports 1. So with the iRacing, that's going to be cool. Been practicing one, so with the iRacing, that's going to be cool. Been practicing quite a bit, getting a little better. I don't know, still, it's tough, man. I'm telling you, that's a lot harder than you think it is. Especially, I haven't played video games in years, you know, so it's different. But having a lot of fun with it. So be sure and tune in to. That's going to become the norm, I'm guessing, for a while if this thing keeps up. So
right, and I'll go Facebook Live if you've joined us recently.
Yep, go to Wayne Johnson Racing on Facebook.
Right.
Sarah goes live, and you get to see the in-car and just see my goofy butt making the steering wheel move and bouncing off the walls and everybody else. And
it's a good time.
It is a good time because in the in-car, I wish there was a way we could tap into my earpiece where you guys could hear the other drivers talk. Because, I mean, we're having a hoot. It's a lot of fun, and it is cool. It's time, and seems like right now we all got a lot of time on our hands. So, right. But anyway, going back to the podcast, we got a guest today that I've known for quite a while. It's Billy Vielhauer. He's the son of the car owner Bob Vielhauer that actually owned the 12X Beaver Tool. The car's been around a long time, had a lot of different drivers, and but going to have him on. So I'm going to try to get him on the line here, and we'll see what we can do. We'll see if we can get him.
All right, we got Billy on the line, I believe. Billy, you there?
I'm here.
Hey, thanks for being on this thing. Thanks for being on this thing. We're learning, you know, this is our ninth week, 9th episode, and you've been actually selected. Kenneth Bowers has actually sent an email or got on that voice line and wanted us to have you on and interview you. So, and people don't realize that all the stuff that we've had to go through, or had to go through, some of the stuff that we've went through. And, you know, before this is over today, the hitchhiker story about us picking that hitchhiker up that time.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's a hell of a story.
Man, I'm telling you, that was the craziest night of my life. But we'll get to that in a little while.
But we'll get to that here in a bit, right?
Hey, I know it's been now, it's going to be 4 years, you know, January Dad's been gone, and
right.
And, you know, we did that car for him 5 years ago in August, so it'll be 5 Nationals this coming up year or whatever. But, man, we had a ball then. But just, I know you kind of taken over the tool company there, and you've kind of you're the boss now. So how's that?
Well, Well, it's going really well. My father I was fortunate enough that he left us in a very good situation as far as the business goes and different properties that he owned. He owned a couple little farms, and it was all paid for. So now we're in the process of a couple of those properties just developing and putting in some streets and selling off lots.
Awesome.
And all that on top.
Race shop? You doing that at the race shop? Or?
On part of it, yeah. Well, I've got 6 lots on the far east boundary of that property are going to be ready to sell here in the next week or two, actually.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful spot, too, up on the hill. You can see downtown Kansas City, and I really used to enjoy, coming out there
yeah.
But your dad was a smart guy. And hey, by the way, your dad was a smart guy. And hey, by the way, I never got any of my information on the wheel because I know he had to leave me something.
Leave you something? Well, sure he did. There's a few pictures laying over there with an autograph on it. How's that sound?
I tell you what, I had so much fun running it. And you guys have had so many car owners through the years. Drivers. Shoot,
right.
So many drivers that it's the list goes on. And superstars, you know what I mean? Seriously, Sammy Swindell, Danny Smith, Shane Carson, guys that I grew up racing. So grew up watching race. So that was kind of cool. But we'll get to that in a minute. But I just wanted to tell you before we get too far into this that racing with you guys and Dad is some of the most memorable race seasons that I've ever had. We had so much fun. Yes, it was full at times. Dad put a lot of pressure on me sometimes, and I was pretty young at the time and just started learning to travel and getting to run 410 cars and that kind of stuff. So he wanted to win no matter what. But one thing I can say about Bob, I would race at Friday nights at Oklahoma City locally, and the races would get over about midnight or so, and I'd get on the road. And I wouldn't arrive to the shop there in Kansas City till about 5 in the morning, sometimes 6.
Mm-hmm.
And your dad would wait up on me, and your dad would wait up on me, and periodically send me messages on the or check up on me, make sure I'm okay coming up the road. So made me feel like a son that, just making sure I'm making it. You know what I mean? He would take care of me and he would wait up until I got there and then he would go to bed and then I'd jump in the toter home there, and go to bed and we'd get on the road by about 10 or 10:30. So those were short nights for me. And then most people don't know, we'd drive back from Knoxville back to Kansas City, and then I'd get my car or truck and drive back all the way. It was some tough times as far as your travel goes, but that just goes to show how bad I really wanted to do this. But I wanted you to know that just like Dad doing that for me and those kind of things really has touched me, and that's why I wanted to do what I did a few years ago for him when I knew he was sick. So
right. Well, and that's always been appreciated. And we were actually just talking about some of those times the other night with my buddy Rocky Weber. He was the what's he call himself? The Hall of Fame mud scraper. But
I remember Rocky. Yeah.
We were talking about some of those stories because it's it's one thing he always had. One he wanted racing was a fun thing for him, and he liked to. He went about it as professional as he possibly could, and but he was it was more about the people getting together and having a good time, and then trying to do a good thing with the racing part on the end of it. But that's what he instilled that in us when we were a bunch of me and my friends when we were younger, being involved and working hard. And of course, he'd sit there and yell at us and drink his little glass of whiskey while we're working. So that
right. Well, he had already done. He already did the work. He had already did his work. It was time for us to do ours and you to do. He already did the work. He had already did his work. It was time for us to do ours and you to do. Because I remember going, that's what he expected, to work. I just didn't get to come and just drive the car.
Oh hell no! Nobody ever did that. Right.
You got hands, you can help. So
that's right.
And learned a lot. Fell into Arnie building the motors, but we still had one motor that Arnie built that I think I'm pretty sure we won there at Cameron, like the Budweiser Nationals
Right.
or whatever that was
Right.
one of Arnie's motors, I believe, didn't we?
Well, Dad and Arnie put that together. Arnie was one of those guys that when I was younger, he came down where we're from. He'd come down to the pits, and I'd mention, hey, we need some help, and that was in about 1989. And from every Wednesday from '89 all the way up till actually when he passed, he was in our shop every Wednesday, and that motor. See, they had a knack for that motor. See, they had a knack for every motor had to have a name. And if I remember right, that one that we ran when you drove it at Cameron, it was named Silly Suckin' Sally. Don't know where it came from, but it was Silly Suckin' Sally. but it was Silly Suckin' Sally.
Well, you know what's weird? I do the same thing now. Maybe that's where that comes from. But all my engines have names too. I'm not going to go that path, but yeah. So maybe that's where I got that from. I wasn't sure where I got that, but I bet that's where it was from.
It might have been.
Then, and then Donnie in this conversation.
Never can.
Donnie's still around. He messages me every once in a while on Facebook, right?
Right.
And,
yep.
He's still around the shop there. Do you see him much?
I don't see him much, and now he's retired from working for the gas company here, and he does a lot of traveling. So
well, he was for the gas company.
Well, kind of. Yeah, they didn't really do a whole hell of a lot, but he was good for a few things. He worked his ass off on the race car. He showed up with hand cleaner and hand wipes and paper towels for us.
Well, I'll tell you right now, Donnie, I would have said, because I was in my early. Well, I'll tell you right now, Donnie, I would have said, because I was in my early 20s when I drove you guys the car, and I'm pretty sure Donnie may have been worked for the gas company, but I think he was a professional gigolo also.
That is a fact. That is a fact. There's no guessing at that.
Well, I sure miss those times, because but it's good to have memories, and man, we got plenty of them. That's I'll tell one story that, and the people that don't know Bob, man, he was a super guy, but he could go off on you in just a matter of seconds. And
right.
They parked the race where they had a big shop, and the race rig and everything stayed in the shop. And Billy, you're going to remember this story.
I'm already remembering. I'm having flashbacks now.
Billy was back in the truck and trailer out of the shop, and it was a Kodiak semi truck, or whatever you want to say it, but it had these big long lug nuts that stuck out off the front wheels. Yeah. And one of those lug nuts hit this. I'm telling you, it couldn't have barely touched it, but it hit this shelf that was in the shop that Bob had 10,000 pounds.
Oh, it was everything but the fenders for a 55 Chevy on those two shelves.
Is that what it was?
Exactly what it was.
Billy was backing that thing out, and it barely clipped one of the legs, and it just folded the leg up. And I'm telling you that everything on that shelf fell on the floor, and you'd have thought. Those are some of the times that.
Boy, I got my ass reamed on that one. Oh yeah, there's another one.
Oh man,
there's one more I'll tell you real quick. There's Shane Stewart was going to drive the Ford. This was 2 years before you drove it. It's another when you drive the Ford. This was 2 years before you drove it. It's another when he blew his top. We raced today. I won today on a Friday night, and we were driving back, and we were going to unload the trailer and stuff, and then load it up to 410, and Shane Stewart was going to drive it up at Knoxville. Well, someone had strapped a spare wing on top, hung off the side of the trailer, and busted it all up. Oh God, he was yelling at me so much around that. He was chasing me around the trailer. But 2 or 3 years after that had happened, when I took the butt chewing for that wing getting come off top trailer, dinging it all up, he told me he knew the strap was loose. He just forgot to go back and tighten it down.
Oh, well,
yeah. And if Shane Stewart ever listens to this, he'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Well, there was another time that we hooked he had I believe it was an S10 Blazer that he towed behind his motorhome. And I think I was the one that did it, because I never had done it before, and I hooked it all up, but I didn't leave the ignition key on where the wheel would freewheel. and he drug that son of a bitch halfway home from Knoxville, and it wore out the front tires.
Yeah, it did.
He cussed me.
Oh shit! But he'd be the first one to tear our heads off, but he'd be the first something went right. So
yeah, for sure. And going back to that, when we were able to do the 12X car back at the Nationals here, like I say, be 5 years ago in August, but and he was already ill then, but I could definitely see the sparks in the face. And even though it wasn't his car, but he was really, I'm so glad that I was able to do that. And that was so cool to be able to put that car in the A main. That's the last time I've been in the A main since. So, hell, maybe I need to paint that thing back like that,
Yeah. Well, let's paint her blue and white. Let's go. Blue and white. Let's go. Figure something out there.
Well, Billy, how many? I don't know if you got any notes or if you got any idea, but let's tell the listeners. Give us some of the rundown on some of the guys that actually drove the Beaver Tool car.
Yeah, when I talked to you earlier, you said that we were going to do this. I just kind of went through, and what got the first thing, of course, Stub Van Kerswick. He owned the car that Jesse Hockett drove for those years. Well, back in 1978, I think it was 78, him and Stub went up to Knoxville, and back then they used to auction off the winning car of the Nationals. And they went up there to bid on it, and they got beat out by another guy to buy the car. But that's about when his racing deal was going to start. He was going to buy that Trossel car, or it was a Singer car that Wolfgang won the Nationals in that year. But 2 years later, he ended up sponsoring a guy by the name of Rupert. And then there were some things happening into that. And he bought that guy out, and that's when he became a car owner. And the next winter after that, he was putting the cars together, and he had a guy that was hired. I won't mention his name, but come in the shop and told him, "By God, you don't know what you're doing. You don't need to be building these cars. Let me do it for you." Well, it took about 2 seconds. The old man listened to that, and he ran his ass out of the shop. And then he decided, well, you know what? He bought a brand new Trossel car, put it together, ran most of that year. TJ Giddings, start out the year, Bob Williams drove the car, Tiger Bob. TJ Giddings took over halfway through the year for us, and he won our first race Beaver Racing ever won was at Lakeside Speedway in the summer of 1981, and that's also TJ Giddings' first win in a 410 sprint car too. Later on, in 82, we traveled the NSCA, won the NSCA championship in only his third year ever in sprint car racing. He won the NSCA championship in only his third year ever in sprint car racing. We raced 63 times, traveled in 11 different states, and I think Tim Green might have been second in points that year in Trossel's car. But, he's had so many different drivers. Shane Carson drove it in 86, won some races at Knoxville, Nationals in 87. I drove it off and on, but then you got Randy Smith drove it. I mean, there was one year he finished third in points at Knoxville. We had 7 different drivers, and a lot of that was hot-headed Bob would come out, and my God, he didn't like you. Your ass was gone. We can talk about.
Yeah, we could spend. That's what on these podcasts that I've been doing before. Some of these guys, we're good friends still to this day. We could go and talk for hours,
Oh, yeah.
About this stuff, and just going on and on and on and on. And I know you missed one there, Danny Smith. I know Danny drove.
Oh, Danny Smith. And then towards the end of the year at the Nationals in 94, Stevie Smith drove it. Of course, when you drove it, and in 2000, what was it, 90? Hell, actually, there was one year in 92, Steve Siegel from Pennsylvania drove it at the Nationals. Shane Stewart drove it 1 year at the Nationals. Shane Stewart drove it 1 year at the Nationals, 99. Hell, we even had Max Dunsby drive it once at I-70 Speedway in Odessa, Missouri, back in 80. We had 2 cars. He drove one, and then I think we had another guy out of Forshey. He drove it off and on in 85. Woody Woodward drove the car. Terry McCarl started out in the car in 87. Jerry Potter drove it. I mean, there's just so many.
Yeah, you can't list them all. That list. Yeah, you can't list them all. That list is hell. That list might be bigger than Guy Forbrooks.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think it is. Guy might want to argue a little bit, but then again, but I think me and my buddy Rocco sat down and I counted. I thought we were up to 36 different drivers through the years.
Oh,
Through the years.
Oh, I don't know.
All those years.
I bet you if that's the case, I bet you Forbrook's probably got you. I think he might.
He might got that beat.
In a couple of years, yeah.
In a couple of years? No shit. No shit.
No, I just no, man. I just you start thinking, and you brought up Stubb earlier, and
right.
I'm gonna tell that story real quick. And I was already driving your dad's car a little bit, and Stubb was trying to steal me away from him.
Imagine that.
And I think it was before we ever raced full time somewhere. Maybe I don't
2002. It was down in Joplin, Missouri. I can tell you exactly what it was.
Is that what it was? And I run a race. I think it's been an outlaw race or something. And anyway, we ran decent, and that was before Dad hired me to run full time. But then Stubb was calling me and wanting me to run a race, and I asked your dad about it. Oh yeah, Stubb was calling me and wanting me to run a race, and I asked your dad about it. Oh yeah, they were pretty good friends. He said, oh yeah, go run a race for him. So I drove all the way to, I don't remember what racetrack it was. Maybe it was Sedalia or I don't remember. Drove up there. We didn't talk about money because I just assumed your dad had talked to Stubb about how I got paid or whatever. I should have worked that out because I got there and Stubb says, well, hey, we never talked about money. And I said, normal deal for me is I get 40% of the winnings and 50% if I win. He said, oh, I can't do that.
Of course not.
I said, what?
The Belgian blood come out of him.
He said, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll pay you 30%. And I said, I'll tell you what I'll do, Stubb. You pay me whatever you want to pay me. I said, but I know what I'm worth, and at the end of the night, you pay me what you're worth. Mm-hmm. And I think we run second. I think we ran second. We run really well. And went to the pay window, and at the end of the night, he paid me 30%, and I never drove the guy's car again. So, and then it worked out for me because then I think Dad and him were kind of in a pissing match there a little bit on who was going to get me hired. So it worked out good for me.
Well, yeah, that worked out good for you, and then Stubb ended up getting Jesse, and on they went.
Yeah. So,
well, then they still turned out to be good friends.
Oh man, I'll tell you what, that poker game. Only poker game I ever went to that was there. Only poker game I ever went to that was there, and I can't remember where they did that there at somebody's house or shop close there in Shawnee. You remember what I'm talking about, Bob, Billy?
That might have been. Was it Stubbs' son's house?
I don't remember. It was just a little old. I don't remember. It was just a little old. It wasn't a nice house or nothing. It was just like an old rink-dink shop thing or something. And I can't remember who the guy was hosting the poker game. They always wanted me to go, and and I'll tell the viewers, Stubb was a multimillionaire, and I'm sure Bob had plenty of money. And there were the guys in there that had like this, that, and the other.
Oh yeah.
And you'd have thought they were playing for $1 million.
You got it.
I don't remember who it was. I don't remember if it was Stubb or your dad, but one of them got so goddamn pissed off. They threw the money down and stomped out of there. And I was like, God damn, man, this is a serious game here.
It could have been over $5.
It could have been over.
It could have been over $5.
It could have been over 50 cents.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
But yeah, no, I just want you to know though, I had so much fun racing with you guys, and I really do appreciate, and I do appreciate everything Dad done for me. And I'm telling you, I felt like family. That's the way he treated me.
That 1 week when you did a tribute car at Knoxville made up for all that with him, and with me. So I'll tell you what, that's something we'll never forget. Yeah,
that was a ball. That was really. I got some good pictures, and I think you do too.
Yes, I do.
And I don't think we could have. I don't like the original 12X than it did. I thought it turned out awesome.
No, the guy that did that, the sticker guy, did a wonderful job.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, hey, before we get off here, I try to keep these about 30 minutes.
Hey, we got to take that. You got to tell them the story about the hitchhiker.
No, that's what I'm saying. We got to tell the story before.
Right. Absolutely.
Or before we get off here or whatever. But you want me to start it off, and we'll just kind of work it together?
Let's go ahead. You're good at it.
All right. Well, we're going to start it off because we're leaving Knoxville, and you guys already heard the part about me driving to Kansas City, and then Billy would drive the rig from Kansas City to Knoxville, but then Billy would drive the rig from Kansas City to Knoxville, but then as soon as the checker flags fell, Billy and those boys would get into the beer. So guess who had to drive back the rig from Knoxville to Kansas City? Wayne Johnson, because he was headed home. Those boys getting the beer. Well, we go Osceola, isn't it, Billy?
Yeah, Osceola right there at 34 before you get on 35, yeah.
Yep.
That's where he picked up that guy.
There was a BP truck stop there.
Yep.
And I'm out, and the same thing, guys. Now, you got to listen to this. As soon as we stop, everybody that's been drinking, they got to go to the bathroom. So guess who ends up pumping diesel? Wayne. So I'm out there pumping the diesel, and I see this guy up by the front of the store, and this is about back when, I don't remember what they called it. It wasn't the 9/11 deal. It was before the 9/11 deal. It was before.
Desert Storm was kind of Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was right after 9/11. Yeah.
There was a guy, clean-cut looking guy, standing outside the store there, and he had this big green duffel bag, and it looked like he was a soldier from somewhere, or maybe just coming home. I wasn't sure, but anyway, he walks up to me and says, "Hey, do you think you guys give me a ride?" Or no, he asked me where we were headed. That's right. And I said, "Oh, we're headed to Kansas City. So you think you guys could give me a ride?" Well, I mean, hell, there's plenty of room, in this toter home and this trailer and all this, but it's not mine. So I'm like, hey, I can't tell you the yes, no, or whatever. I said, ask him. Go ask him.
Well, sure. Well, hell, we have a few beers in us. You jump on in.
So Billy says, oh, yeah, no problem. Yeah. Well, Billy looks at me and says, you're going to ride in the back of the toter home with that guy. I'm driving. I was like, oh, shit, now, thanks a lot.
That's right.
So we're going down the road. Oh, thanks a lot.
That's right.
So we're going down the road, and I'm sitting back there. It's kind of dark back there. I don't even think the TV was on, maybe one little old light on, and it's kind of awkward. I ain't going to lie. It was pretty damn awkward to sit there, and it's just asking the guy, all kinds of questions. He was really short, too. And his Army gear, or I didn't know really what, but I was just trying to start a conversation. And he said, none of your effing business. And I was like, what? I kind of stood up straight, and I was like, what? I really didn't know what to say. Oh, he's just messing with me. It's what I'm thinking in my head. So up front, and I told you what had just happened. I said, pull this son of a bitch over. We're not giving him a ride any further.
That's right.
So Billy's getting over on the rumble strip, and I could feel the truck and trailer slowing down, and it was raining. You remember that, Billy?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And
cats and dogs.
What's that?
I'd rain cats and dogs. Could hardly see.
Well, I'm telling you, and I don't know if you remember that door on that toter home, man. When you hit that button, you could hear that big click, click.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, I tell this guy, I said, get your ass out. I was mad. Man, I just couldn't believe he was treating us that way, and we're giving him a ride. I said, get your ass out or whatever. Well, anyway, you wasn't even almost. Get your ass out or whatever. Well, anyway, you wasn't even almost. You were almost stopped, but the truck was still rolling. Yep. I bet you're going a half a mile an hour. Anyway,
maybe
he took that duffel bag and slung it up over his left shoulder, and about that time I heard his arm hit that, or hand hit that door, latch on that door, because it always made a big click. And when it did, I don't know, something happened to me. I grabbed that damn strap of that duffel bag, and I did the biggest drop kick you could ever drop kick somebody in your life, and kicked that sucker out that door. And I was like, go, Billy, go! And Billy took off hauling ass or whatever, and carrying on. And I look up and I go, look, Billy, I got his bag. Look.
And I said, well, what the hell's in the bag?
And I said, none of your effing business.
Awesome.
Man, that joke has been going on since, I think that was
17-year-old joke.
Still to this day.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I tell you what, I still get people with that joke today. And I tell you one of the best people that I ever got with that joke. And that was Ralph Capitani. Oh, my God.
Exactly.
Robert Brown, Brian Brown's dad.
Uh-huh.
almost every time I see him now in passing, if we're passing each other in pits or at the concession stand or
None
whatever,
of your freaking business.
He always asks me, "What's in the bag?"
What's in the bag? What's in the bag? Well, that was a good one, and one real quick one. We were talking about dirty things, and Leonard Carl come up walking behind us and stood behind the car. He looked at me and you,
Leonard
and he
McCarl?
goes, "Yep, Leonard McCarl."
Oh, I
Yep,
know this.
Leonard.
Go ahead.
Leonard McCarl, and we were talking about sex. And he started walking around, he turned around, and he goes, "Boys, last time I ever had any, I had some penetrations, my fingers slipped through the toilet paper." And then he turned around, and he never smiled, never said nothing, just said that, and he just kept on walking.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. Man, we had so much fun.
Yeah,
I miss those days. I really do. Enjoy it, but I guess as you get older, some of the craziness wears off, and you don't get to act as stupid. I guess you got to grow up some, but these kids have no idea what we've got to do in the past because they don't get to do any of it.
Oh hell no! They got it's got that sports gotten point right then. Oh hell no! They got it's got that sports gotten point right then. You know this now from what you're doing. It's got so damned expensive that the fun's out of it. It's just a business now, and then you just gotta.
It is a business. It is a business, and I got great car owners now, and they're spending a fortune. Damn coronavirus or however you want to say it, and we're all sitting around collecting paychecks and not getting to do anything. So, I just it's sickening to me that what's going on, but I understand too, and I know you're dealing with your business with the same thing, and
same deal. We're fortunate enough to where we keep paying our people, and I got them painting walls, redoing ceilings and offices, just getting ready for when it does finally break loose. Hopefully we can make a buck.
Well, that's kind of what's going on around here. We're painting and cleaning and just trying to stay busy, Well, hey, Billy, I really appreciate you just trying to stay busy, Well, hey, Billy, I really appreciate you being on. And
no
if
problem.
you bump into Donnie, would you tell him I said hello and tell the wife and the boys and the daughter that I said hello and thanks for coming on. And man, I wish we had more time to reminisce because there's a lot more stories. I'm sure.
Well, if you have a Beaver Bob night, that'd be a whole hour minimum.
Oh yeah, what you mean?
You got
that'd
it.
Be a night. That might be.
Maybe a series.
Yeah.